Good evening, dear friend. I'm Grace. Before we begin, let yourself settle. Wherever you are lying now, let the weight of your body soften into what is beneath you. Feel the length of your spine, the easy heaviness of your arms, the quiet stillness of your hands. Take a slow breath in through your nose, all the way down, past your chest, into the low tenderness of your belly. Hold it there gently for just a heartbeat and breathe out, slowly, steadily, in a long and unhurried stream. Once more, in slowly, filling yourself with softness, and out, releasing the day, releasing all of it, letting it go. Good. Now let your breathing find its own quiet rhythm and come with me. The lane is narrow and the hedgerows are very tall, and the rain has been falling since mid-afternoon. A fine, persistent spring rain that does not hurry, that has simply arrived and settled, as though it has always meant to be here. You have been driving for a long while. The last proper road was some miles back. Since then there have been only single-track lanes, their edges blurred with new grass, and the occasional drift of white cow parsley just beginning to open, and the sky has pressed itself low and grey and soft above the hills, and you have been following a hand-drawn map, someone's actual handwriting, ink on paper, with a little arrow that said, "You'll know the turning by the oak." And there was an oak, ancient and vast and dripping, standing at the bend, as though it had been waiting there for you for several 100 years. You turned. The lane descended after the oak, winding down into a fold of the hills where the fields on either side grew damper and darker, the grass a deeper green than anything you have seen all day. Somewhere to your left, hidden by the hedge, you could hear the sound of water, not loud, not rushing, but steady and present, as though the valley had its own low voice and it was welcoming you in. The wipers moved back and forth across the glass. The hedgerow on your right was threaded through with the white flowers of blackthorn, still holding their blossoms in the rain, and you slowed without meaning to, simply to let the sight of them register. And now at the bottom of a shallow valley, between a stream you can hear but not yet see, and a hillside, where the first lambs of the season are standing very still in the rain, there is a light, a warm light, a yellow light, one that comes from a window with curtains not quite drawn, from a room where someone has put on a lamp and not thought much about it, because that is what lives there. You pull in through the low gate, the gravel softly crunching beneath your wheels, and you sit for a moment with the engine quiet, listening to the rain on the roof of the car. It makes a gentle sound, a sound that asks nothing of you. The lambs on the hillside do not move. The light in the window holds. You breathe out, slowly, as though you have been holding something in for a very long time, and only now, in the quiet of this small gravel yard, have thought to let it go. The sign by the gate reads, in painted letters that are weathered but still perfectly legible, "The Inn at Hollow Beck. Bed and breakfast. Walkers welcome." You are not particularly a walker, but the welcome is enough. The front door is unlocked. This strikes you briefly as surprising, and then it strikes you as exactly right, because this is a place where doors are unlocked, where the expectation is not threat but arrival, where someone has left the latch off because they knew you were coming and saw no reason to make you knock in the rain. The hallway is narrow and well heated. There is a coat rack on the left, hung with a variety of jackets in various states of waterproofing, and a row of walking boots lined up beneath it with the patient tidiness of things that know their place. A tall mirror in a dark wooden frame, its silver beginning to cloud at the edges. In that way old mirrors do, giving back a softer version of the room. A small table with a blue jug holding a handful of daffodils, late ones, the last of the season, their yellow deepened to almost gold, their heads still bright, The floor is flagged stone, smooth and worn pale, in the centre of each slab where generations of feet have passed, and there is a runner of dark red wool along the middle of it, softened with age. The walls are painted the colour of old cream, and there are one or two framed things hanging on them. A small watercolour of a hillside, a photograph in a dark mount. Pictures that have been there so long, they have become part of the wall itself, seen without being looked at. The heat is particular. It is not the dry, managed heat of a thermostat, but something older. The deep saturation of a building heated from the inside for decades, stone and plaster slowly saturated, holding what has been given to them and giving it back again. Somewhere beyond the hallway there is the sound of something simmering, and beneath that, very faintly, music, a radio in another room, playing something you almost recognize but cannot quite name. You close the door gently behind you and the sound of the rain recedes. A voice calls from somewhere ahead.
Just come through, love. I won't be a moment.
And so you do. The kitchen is the heart of the place. You understand this immediately in the way you sometimes understand things before you have thought them through, the way a room tells you, without speaking, exactly what it is. It is a large kitchen, larger than you expected, with a low ceiling crossed by dark beams, and a range cooker along the far wall that is giving off a steady, reliable heat. The surfaces are old wood, scrubbed pale. There are copper pans on hooks. There is a wide windowsill where 3 terracotta pots hold herbs, rosemary, thyme, something you cannot name, and the rain runs down the glass behind them in slow, wandering threads. And at the range, with her back to you, is a woman. She's older, perhaps 60, perhaps a little more, with grey hair pinned up in a loose and unceremonious fashion, and she's wearing a large apron over a green jumper, and she's stirring something that smells, and you breathe in properly now for the first time in hours, of leek and potato, of bay leaf and cream, of a long, slow simmer in a pot that has known many suppers. She turns. Her face is the one that makes you feel immediately that you have met before, even though you are certain you have not. It is a face with lines in it, good lines, the kind that come from a life spent outdoors and paying close attention to things. Her eyes are very blue.
You made it then.
She says, and something in you settles, something that has been braced, without your knowing it, all the long miles of the drive. And it softens now, as simple as that.
I'm Evelyn. Come in properly. There's tea on the side. Help yourself.
The tea is in a large brown pot with a crocheted Cosy on it, in shades of cream and light yellow, and the mug she gestures you towards is wide and thick and the colour of old parchment, and you fill it and wrap both hands around it, and stand for a moment in the heat of the kitchen, while Evelyn turns back to her soup, and the range ticks softly and the radio murmurs something that is neither loud enough to distract nor quiet enough to lose. She ladles soup into a wide bowl and sets it before you without ceremony, leek and potato, the surface just trembling, a curl of steam rising from it into the kitchen air. Nothing fancy, she says, more to herself than to you. You eat. It is exactly right. There is a table in the corner of the kitchen, small and round, with 2 chairs drawn up to it, and a candle burning in a low glass holder, and she nods you towards it, and you sit, and the heat of the range reaches you there, and the sound of the stream outside is audible now, a low, unhurried rushing, following the contour of the valley floor, and you listen to the beck beneath the radio and the soft rhythm of the spoon, and something in you settles, not tiredness exactly, though you are tired, but something closer to arrived, to here. After the soup there is bread, a dense, faintly sour loaf that Evelyn cuts in thick slices and sets before you with butter, and a small jar of something amber, quince, from the garden, put up last autumn. And you eat slowly without hurry, and the candle between you burns with a very steady flame. The butter is salted and cold from the larder, and it melts into the bread before you have finished spreading it. The quince is sharp and deep all at once, a taste that seems to belong to a particular time of year, to October hedgerows and low gold light, and the feeling of summer finally releasing its hold on things. You eat without rushing. There is no need to rush. The kitchen asks nothing of you beyond your presence in it. She tells you a little about the place, without making a story of it. The inn has been here a long while. The building is older than anyone knows precisely. The deeds say one thing, and the stones suggest another. She came here 20 years ago with her husband, who has since died. She says this simply, without requiring any particular response from you. And she has stayed because there seemed no good reason to leave, and many good reasons to remain. The valley, the beck, the way the light falls in October across the upper field. You listen. You ask a question here and there, small questions, the ones that open rather than interrogate, and she answers. And the answers are full of the textures of a life that has been lived in one place long enough to understand it. She tells you about the beck, how it rises up on the far side of the hill after heavy rain and runs fast and brown for a day or two, then clears to the colour of weak tea, and then back to its usual state, which is somewhere between green and nothing, so clear you can count the stones on the bottom. She tells you about the lambs on the hillside, which belong to the farm a mile up the track, and how the farmer's dog has the habit of standing at the gate each morning and watching the road as though expecting someone, and how no one has ever been able to say who. And she also tells you about a pair of dippers that nest in the bank below the bridge each spring, and how the male will sometimes stand on a wet stone in the middle of the current and sing, at considerable volume, to no apparent audience except the water itself. You find, as she speaks, that you have stopped thinking about the things you were thinking about in the car. They are still there somewhere, you know they are, but they have grown quieter, the way a noise you have been bracing against will sometimes stop without your noticing, and you realize only a little while later, in the absence of the tension, that it has gone. Outside, the rain has softened. You can hear it still, but it is gentler now, a whisper rather than a statement, running quietly off the eaves and down into the water butt by the back door, dripping from the hedgerow, settling into the soil of the kitchen garden, where Evelyn says the first broad beans are already showing.
Good sleepers, broad beans.
She says, and you are not entirely sure whether she is talking about the beans or about something else, but it seems somehow to apply. Your room is at the top of a narrow staircase, the treads worn to a shallow curve in their centres, the handrails smooth and cool beneath your palm. The staircase turns once, and at the turn there is a small window that looks out over the back garden and the dark hillside beyond, and you pause there for a moment, not for any reason, only because pausing feels right, because the view through that small rain-blurred window is a thing worth a moment of your attention. The wet garden below just visible in the last of the light. A row of canes for the beans, a shape that might be a rosebush with a few leaves already showing. The door opens onto a room that is small and perfect. The bed is high, a proper old iron bed with a white iron headboard and a quilt in shades of soft green and cream, a patchwork of different fabrics, some plain and some faintly patterned, stitched together with a patience you find yourself almost moved by. The pillows are deep. There are two of them, plump and unhurried, leaning against the headboard with the easy confidence of things that know what they are for. The window looks out over the valley. You can see through the glass the last of the light, not sunset, There is no sunset tonight with the clouds, but a softening of the grey into something almost lilac, something that is neither day nor evening, but the long, quiet passage between them. The beck is down there, invisible in the dark, but audible still, that low, continuous sound, like breathing, like the valley itself breathing in its sleep. There is a small lamp on the bedside table, its shade the colour of old ivory, and when you turn it on, it throws a circle of warm amber light across the quilt and the pillow, pooling softly onto the wooden floor, and beyond that circle everything softens into comfortable shadow. There is a sprig of dried lavender in a small glass vase on the windowsill, not fresh, dried, from last year or the year before. Its colour faded to a soft grey purple. It smells still, faintly, but with a certainty, clean and faintly dusty, the way lavender always smells, as though it is remembering summer. There is also, on the small chest of drawers beside the door, a folded white towel and a bar of soap wrapped in brown paper, and a card in Evelyn's handwriting that reads, "Breakfast from 8, or whenever you're ready. No hurry." You read it twice. The two words, "No hurry," do something to the last of the day's tightness in your chest. Something small and definitive, like a key turning. You stand at the window for a moment before you draw the curtains. The valley below is darkening. The lambs on the hillside have disappeared into a barn somewhere, or simply folded down into the grass, tucked into the shelter of their mothers. The rain is very soft now. The hedge at the bottom of the garden is perfectly still. There is a single light in the distance, far across the valley, another farmhouse, another kitchen window, another lamp left on in a room where someone has gone about their evening without thinking much about it. You watch it for a moment. It holds steady. It does not flicker. You draw the curtains. The sheets are cool when you first slide beneath them, and then they soften around you. Quickly, the way good cotton does, taking your heat and returning it, finding the equilibrium that is simply rest. The quilt is heavier than you expected and lighter than you feared. It settles over you with a small, contented weight, and you lie still for a moment, feeling the exact shape of the mattress beneath you, the exact pressure of the pillow against the side of your face. The pillow smells of something clean, not perfumed, just laundered and aired. The smell of a room that is regularly open to the wind off the hill, that has been tended without fuss. The lamp is still on. You could reach out and switch it off, but you do not yet. There is no hurry. There is nothing here that requires hurrying. Outside, the guttering drips. 4 seconds, 5 seconds, another drop. The sound is unhurried, metronomic, as though the roof of the inn is simply counting time in its own way, at its own pace, with no concern for any other clock. The beck sounds on. You had not noticed, until now, how entirely it has become part of the room, how your breathing has, without your asking it to, found the same slow rhythm, in and out, in and out. The water over the stones, the rain, which is barely rain now, more like the idea of rain, the last soft breath of it. Somewhere below, Evelyn is moving about the kitchen. You can hear her, not clearly, just the low sounds of a house settling into its evening, the creak of a floorboard, the soft closing of a door. The sounds are not intrusive. They are, if anything, a comfort. The knowledge of another person in the house, going about the quiet work of the end of a day. You think of the note on the chest of drawers. No hurry. The words have settled somewhere in you, the way something good settles, not dramatically, not all at once, but spreading outward from some central place until the whole of you is a little steadier than it was before. Your eyes have closed without your deciding to close them. You notice this only because you notice the amber of the lamplight is no longer visible, only glow, the suggestion of it, somewhere beyond your eyelids. Your shoulders have dropped. You had not known until just now how long they had been held, somewhere above where shoulders are supposed to rest. How long you had been carrying that particular invisible tension. But they have let go of it now. Somewhere between the second pillow and the weight of the quilt, and the space between your shoulder blades has widened, just enough, and your whole back has softened into the mattress as though it belongs there, as though this is exactly where it has been heading, all day, all the long miles of the drive, all the weeks before the drive, without knowing it. The rain has stopped. You are not sure when it stopped. It was so gradual, so gentle in its diminishing, that there was no moment of stopping, only a slow reduction, a quieting, until the quiet was complete. Now the only sound is the beck and the occasional soft drip from the guttering, a slow, patient drip, 4 or 5 seconds between each drop, and somewhere outside, very far away, an owl. The owl calls once, and then again, further off, and then not at all. The inn is still. You breathe. There are things you were thinking about before. You know this, can feel the edges of them, the way you can feel the edges of a dream when you are not quite asleep, but they have moved back. They have given you room. They are still there if you needed them, but you do not need them. Not here. Not tonight. Tonight there is only this, the comfort of the quilt, the sound of the water, the scent of lavender from the window-sill, so faint now it is almost only memory. The mattress holds you. The pillow holds you. The old inn with its flagged floors and its deep, settled quiet holds you. And the valley holds the inn. And the darkness holds the valley softly, the way it does in spring. Not the hard black of winter, not yet the thin grey of summer, but this one, this mild and still spring night that smells of wet earth and new grass, and the very first warmth the season has allowed itself. You are here. There is nowhere else to be. The lamp can stay on a little longer. It is doing no harm. It is here, as you are here, as the beck is here, as the owl was here, and has gone, and may come again, as the rain was here, and has passed, and left the world cleaner for its passing. Your hands are open. Your face has smoothed into the pillow. Somewhere in the kitchen below, Evelyn has turned off the last light. The inn is dark now, except for your room, except for the small amber circle on the quilt, and in a little while that too will go, and there will only be the dark and the sound of the water and your own breathing, slow and even, easy and slow. But not yet, for now there is just this. The inn at Hollow Beck, the spring rain, which is gone now and has left the valley clean. The voice from the kitchen, you made it then, and the quiet certainty of being expected, and the long unhurried dark, coming quietly, coming gently, coming the way all good things come when you have stopped watching for them. Without announcement, without effort, simply arriving, the way rest always does when you let it. Until next time, sleep well.